You are listening to a recording from the Cooperating to Build a Better Nova Scotia conference in Halifax, a celebration marking the United Nations International Year of Cooperatives.
What brings you to the Cooperating to Build a Better Nova Scotia conference?
Well, I'm from New Brunswick. I'm a professor of sociology at the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton, and I'm a co-op researcher. So I'm very interested in some of the results that have been presented just a moment ago on the economic impact of the co-op sector in Nova Scotia, as well as on the social impact. So we've learned, for example, that even though there were only perhaps 310 cooperative reporting in 2011. This represented 2.2% of the Nova Scotia economy in terms of GDP, but more interestingly, 2.5% of employment in the province. So the co-op are a good investment because they punch above their weight in terms of job creation, and they are particularly active also in rural area which desperately need jobs. So one of my comment was to remind this to politicians, MLAs, member of parliament, because many of them come from rural riding, and I think that they don't realize the importance of the local co-op or co-ops in their riding in terms of maintaining employment locally.
Do you find that there's a lot of similarities between the Nova Scotia context and the New Brunswick context?
Yes, because in Atlantic Canada, of course, the co-op world is dominated by a few very large agricultural co-op on one hand, and then of course the financial services. So those are probably, in terms of money and employment, agricultural co-op and financial services are the dominant player, and that's true in both provinces. But I think that's interesting to watch is what's emerging at the margin. So co-ops that will be involved in wind farm, or co-ops that is going to be involved in food security, which we will have a next session on in a few minutes. So I think it's interesting to see what's out there currently and what has been there historically, but also what's coming up, because young people who are interested in co-op have a different interest from their grandparent who started co-ops. So I think that a conference like this also gives us an opportunity to keep monitoring this.
Yeah, actually, one of the themes in all of the interviews that I've been doing and hearing over the course of the conference, there's been a huge focus on youth engagement and kind of getting youth activated at that, getting at them early.
Yes, it's a challenge because you do not hear about co-op. They don't hear about it in school. They don't hear about it in university. My own university has a business school in which there's 0 courses dealing with co-op, which is really a shame given, as I said, just their importance for job creation. So co-ops are a bit invisible. So we have to make them more visible. But the co-op sector itself has to be proactive in bringing young people in position of responsibility in the co-op, because the co-op is a fantastic school for democracy, for management. By being involved in a co-op, you can learn about managing a group, how to manage a meeting, how to come up with decision built on a consensus. So these are all skills that are good for every citizen, and we all gain as a country when people are involved in co-ops.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So have you been to more just this session, or were there some other sessions?
I just arrived this afternoon. I drove from Fredericton this morning, so I went to this session on the social and economic impact, and next I'm going to the food security, because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, food security it's a very hot topic these days.
Hot topic, yes. Many of my students are interested in food security at different level, and I could say that compared to my generation, that was not a thesis topic, but definitely now it is.
Yeah. What do you think that it is? Do you think that people are feeling a bit more insecure? I mean, you have a sociology background, so what do you think it is that are kind of allowing, these networks to open up and people to engage in alternative systems and alternative thinking?
I think just look at what happened at Excel Food in Alberta. I think that people are, while we all recognize that industrialized system of food have contributed to our well-being and making food available, we've also have lost a lot of control on amount of sugar, amount of salt that there is in processed food. So people, more and more people you would see, you go to a farmer market and go to the butcher counter at the farmer market, he's sold out. He's sold out, because people are gravitating towards, meat that has been raised within a reasonable distance, as opposed to meat that has been packaged in Alberta and shipped across the country. So there is a real concern about, what we eat, and therefore about food security. And co-ops have a role to play in this because they are very involved in the agricultural sector.
Yeah, no, that's great. Is there anything you want to add, or any websites, any co-ops that are dear to your heart back in New Brunswick?
Well, we're going to hear about the coffee co-op in here in Nova Scotia. Just Us, which is really a model that and I'm a coffee lover, so
and it's good coffee.
I actually hope they have free sample there at the session, maybe.
I believe that the coffee at the back of the banquet, it's all provided by Just Us.
Excellent. So I'm going to go and have one. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Luc.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for sharing your experience.